Today we're going to look at the family tree of Norse gods. Most people are familiar with Odin, Thor, and Loki, but there are actually a lot of other gods in Norse mythology, and we're going to look at how they are all connected. And I should mention up front, I'm probably going to get the pronunciation wrong, but I'm going to give you a link in the description to a video by someone else that will teach you how to pronounce all these names correctly. Okay, we're going to start here. According to Norse mythology, there was a giant born out of the primeval void named Ymir. And it's from Ymir that we get this race of giants known as Jotnar, or one giant is called a Jotun. And so in Norse mythology, we have a lot of giants, and these are kind of separate from the gods. And on this chart, they are shown here in brown. Let's look at a few of the more important ones. There was a giant called Surt, who was the guardian of the fire realm. I'll show you the various realms at the end of this video. There was a giant called Utgard Loki, and he's different from this other more well-known Loki over here, and he was the ruler of the giant castle. There were two giants that did give birth to this Loki over here. There's a god for the sea and a goddess of the sea, Aegir and Ran. They are considered giants. From them come 9 sisters, the waves of the sea, who give birth to a god named Heimdall, the guardian of the gates of Asgard, who holds a horn and blows that. There was a giant who gave birth to the sun and the moon, known in Norse mythology as Sol and Mani. And then there were some giants who gave birth to a god known as Tyr, who is the original god of war. And the day of the week, Tuesday, is named after Tyr. So those are some of the giants. Now let's look at the gods. There was also a primeval creature, a cow called Audhumla, who licked the ice. The world was ice at that time. And out of that ice came the first god. And the first god in Norse mythology is called Buri. And then Buri had Bor. And Bor was the father of Odin. And Odin is the king of the gods. He had one eye. He's also the god of war, of wisdom, of poetry, and a lot of other things. He had some brothers who are mentioned here. His wife was named Frigg. She's kind of the queen of the Aesir gods. At this point I should mention there are actually 2 races of gods. There's the Aesir gods. They're shown here in blue. And there's another race of gods known as the Vanir gods, and they are shown in green, and we'll get to them in a second. Okay, so Odin and Frigg have several children. They had a son called Balder, who is the god of light and purity, and supposedly just so beautiful and wonderful to look at. But they had another son called Hoder, and then there was Hermod, who is the messenger of the gods, kind of like Hermes in Greek mythology. And there's this famous story where Loki tricks Hoder into killing Balder. And this makes the parents very angry, and then they birth another son here, or Odin births another son to then kill Hoder. Let's see here. We also have the god of justice, who is the son of Balder. We have a god and goddess here called Bragi and Idun, god of poetry and goddess of youth. And of course we have Thor. And Thor was the son of Odin through another female, this time a giant named Jord. And Thor actually has a brother named Meli. Thor's wife's name was Sif, and they had a daughter named Thrud. And Thor's wife also had a son named Uller, who's the god of skiing. Of course, we're dealing with Norse gods here, so a lot of wintry type gods. So let's talk about these Vanir gods. They're thought of as being a separate race of gods because they have a different source. They come from a god named Njord, who was the god of fishing and seafaring. And he had 2 wives. He had a sister wife, and also he had a wife, the giant Skadi. But Njord was the father of 2 important gods in Norse mythology, known as Frey and Freya. Frey was the god of fertility, sunlight, peace. He rides a bull. Freya was the goddess of love and beauty. And I should mention that she and Frigg are sometimes confused, but these are 2 different goddesses. It is from Frigg that we get the name Friday. Odin, we get the name Wednesday. And Thor, of course, we get the name Thursday. So several days of the week named after these Norse gods. The kings of Sweden and Norway, according to legend, trace their roots to Frey, a Vanir god. But the kings of Denmark trace their lineage back to Odin, according to legend. Okay, I should also talk about Loki for a moment. Loki had 3 main children. Fenrir, who is a wolf who's bound by a chain and is supposedly going to be released at the great final battle at the end of the age. There was a daughter here, Hel, the goddess of death, and a sea serpent named Jormungand, which simply means giant monster. Okay, so that is basically the family tree. I also want to show you a couple other parts of this chart. This is the 9 homeworlds of Yggdrasil, which means the world tree. So the Norse kind of thought of the universe as being a large tree with different realms. Midgard, or the middle realm, is where we all live, and that is Earth. And above Earth is the realm of the gods and the realm of the elves. Asgard is where all the Aesir gods live. To the west of Earth is Vanaheim, where the Vanir gods live. And to the east is Jotunheim, the realm of the giants. Now, if you think about where the Norse people were located, this will make sense. To the north of them would have been a realm of ice, and so we have this primordial realm of ice, and to the south things got warmer and hotter, so they thought of this realm of fire being to the south. And that is where the giant Surt reigns. I mentioned Utgard earlier. That Utgard Loki is the king of this castle, and that's in Jotunheim, where the giants live. Now, below Earth, we get a realm where we find the dark elves or dwarves, and then below that, way down, we get Helheim, the realm of the dead, and that's where you'll find Loki's daughter, Hel. And at the bottom of this great tree, you'll find several creatures known in Norse mythology. The Norns, who thread destiny. Mimir, disembodied head that gives wisdom at a well. And then there's this giant snake called Nidhogg who gnaws at the root of the tree. And then up here at the top is an eagle and a hawk. And up and down the tree runs a little squirrel named Ratatoskr, who relays insults that this snake gives to people. There's also some four deer that eat among the branches of the tree. And I should point out that there are 2 halls in Asgard where the dead go, those who die in battle. There's Valhalla, ruled by Odin, and Folkvangr, ruled by Freya. And there's these beings called the Valkyries, maidens, who go and get warriors after they die and bring them to Valhalla. The other half go to Folkvangr, and they wait here until Ragnarok with a final battle where they will fight again. Okay, a couple other things on this chart. There's a guide to runes, which is basically kind of like an alphabet that was used by the Norse. And then here are, at the bottom, mentioned some gifts of the dwarves, some famous objects in Norse mythology. The one that's most well known here is probably Mjolnir, which is Thor's hammer. Okay, so that's a look at this Norse mythology family tree chart. And if you want your own copy of this, you can get it as a poster over at usefulcharts.com. Thanks for watching.